Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll just wait a couple more minutes to let people filter in. A couple more people joining now, which is great. Hi everyone. Lovely. So just while people are joining, welcome back to another Creative Futures session. This is our third session of our series. I really appreciate you spending, perhaps it might still be your Easter holidays, so thank you for joining us this evening. Just as a quick reminder, my name is Jess and I'm from the Study Hire team, and I'm joined this evening by my colleague Marissa as well. Hi Marissa, thanks for joining us. And our job at Study Hire is to put on different events and activities like this one tonight to help you make informed decisions about your future. So Creative Futures is focused on the creative industries and learning out about the different careers and options that will be available within this sector. So through the session tonight, we'll be using a couple of different tools. One of them is the chat function. So you should hopefully be able to see that at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to pop any questions or any responses you have in there. It would be really great if you do have any questions to please put them in there, because there will be time at the end for us all to answer your questions. So please, any comments or anything, please put them in there. And the other tool we'll be using is polls. So this is where a question will pop up on your screen and you can just respond to it anonymously. So just to test this one, I'm just going to launch a poll now. Just asking you how you're feeling today. I think some of you will potentially have gone back to school. Some of you may be feeling full of Easter eggs from over the weekend. So yeah, let us know. How are you feeling today? Something else, majority of you, quite a lot of you are feeling good, which is great. Lovely. So as you can see, our results there, hopefully, yes, majority of us are feeling good. Some of us are a bit tired, that's okay. It is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week. So thank you again for being here tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Fab. So tonight's session, I'm delighted to share that we have got Hattie from Ravensbourne University London joining us tonight and delivering our session. So as I said, if you've got any questions or comments, please pop them in the chat. But Hattie, over to you, thank you.
Brilliant, thanks Jess. Hello everyone. I really apologise because I find sometimes talking to myself in a Zoom screen a little bit off-putting, so please do put questions in the chat because it's really nice to know that there are people out there listening to me waffle on. So like Jess said, my name's Hattie, my pronouns are she, her, and I work in kind of our outreach team. So I work with a lot of schools, colleges, young people and aspiring creatives here at Ravensbourne University London. Ravensbourne is this building in this picture behind me with all the weird holes in, next to the O2 Arena. The O2 Arena is in North Greenwich on the in South London, and it's like right on the river. And yes, I have seen Harry Styles getting ready for the Brit Awards from my office. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what careers and your pathways might look like into the creative industries. And I really want to kind of get some feedback from you guys about what you know, and kind of maybe break some of the myths that exist around the creative industries. A lot of people get told, don't go and do a creative subject because you never earn any money, you'll never get a job. And I'm going to try and hopefully tell you that that's all a lie, and actually that is a possibility for you. If at any point I say things that you want me to repeat again, or I go too quickly, because I do, and I'm sorry if you can't understand my South London accent, please feel free to pop in the chat, slow down Hattie, and I will. Okay, so who am I and who is Ravensbourne? So Ravensbourne University London is a specialist creative university. We have just started to branch out into kind of more tech-based courses. So we're just this year launching a new business course, but majority of our courses are in things like fashion, film, photography, architecture. And we really champion creativity and collaboration. And we work really, really closely with what I'm going to call the industry quite a lot. Now, the industry seems like this weird, faceless being, but actually what I mean by that is loads of amazing people and loads of creative people who make up kind of this booming part of the UK economy. Our students at Ravensbourne do really well. Like, the reason I'm showing you this isn't to sell you the university, just want to show you that actually, even during a global pandemic, 90% of our graduates went straight into work. 76% of them went straight into highly skilled jobs. So that was jobs that were directly linked to their degree. So that might be TV students now working in TV, or film students like working in cinematography or directing or producing films, that kind of thing. And 73% of them are in full-time employment. We're going to have a bit of a conversation later about the difference between being freelance and working full-time, and if anybody knows what that means, but 73% of them are fully employed all the time. I talk about this industry. Does anyone recognize some of these logos of organizations? The reason that we work really closely with the industry, because we don't think the way we teach isn't just to say, here you go, learn how to make a really nice film, and then not how to make any money from it, or how actually to create a career in that industry. So what we do is we teach you with the industry, in partnership with them, through live briefs. So Sony or the O2 or Sky might write a brief for our students, for them to kind of, that is their uni work, that is their project. And then they pitch that to someone from Apple or Amazon or Sky. And then they might get their work featured with that organization. And basically they're getting used to and learning all of those skills that you will need when you go out and work in a creative field. A lot of that isn't just sitting and drawing. A lot of that is talking to people, which sometimes some of us can really struggle with. And I totally understand that, because it is really awkward sometimes talking to people, but it is one of the key points, key parts of being a creative. So all of our courses here at Ravensbourne have been kind of written in partnership and consultation with those industry partners. So we are not going to be teaching you things that you won't have to do in your in a job, really. We think it's really best to train people up so that they will succeed and do the best in their career. So this is one of the projects I want to talk to you a little bit about. So throughout this presentation, you can see some QR codes. If you're watching from a computer, you can scan it. If not, I'll send it over to the team and then you guys can share it after. So our 3-year course, our BA course in advertising and brand design, is one of the most exciting courses, and absolutely the one that I would do if I went back and retrained at university. These students worked with Apple Music to kind of create these huge billboards on Tottenham Court Road. And if anyone's been to London then might know Tottenham Court Road. It's like the other end of Oxford Street. It's kind of got one of the busiest footfalls of stations in London. And they created these huge billboards on massive LED screens for unsigned artists with Apple Music. And that was our students' work being promoted and shown in that space, which is pretty big. Like, most other students will just kind of have a little, maybe a little degree show, but this was just one short project in their entire degree. So I just wanted to show you, like, this is the kind of work that you might do on a creative course, but like also as a creative person, your work might not just be seen on Instagram or whatever. It might be seen by hundreds of thousands of people walking past doing their Christmas shopping. So I keep talking about this industry and the creative industries, but what do you mean? What do I mean? So the creative industries, oh, look at that. One of my little emojis has turned into something else. That's interesting, isn't it? So the creative industries is kind of an umbrella term for all of these different, these 12 different sectors that kind of make up this world that we all work in. And those fall into advertising and marketing, architecture, crafts, design, so that is product design, graphic design and fashion, film, TV, radio, video and photography, so kind of broadcasting and media. And then kind of the biggest booming one at the moment is IT, computing, services and software. which we all kind of relied a lot more heavily on in the last couple of years, publishing, museums, galleries and libraries, music, performing and visual arts, animation and VFX, video games and heritage. So you could be a creative person, you could be a designer, you could be a filmmaker, you could be a camera operator, you could be a musician, a sound engineer, an architect, an architectural designer, a marketing executive, a social media executive, or you could work within HR or finance, or you could work as an administrator or an office manager or in facilities for a brand or a company who is a creative organization. Do you see what I mean? So there's kind of two sides to the same coin. What we do at Ravensbourne and what we're really excited about is training up the next batch of creatives, really. So some facts about some of these different industries. We couldn't survive without half of these industries. And actually advertising and marketing makes the UK economy £1 million an hour. So it's like constantly booming. And actually with the rise of things like TikTok and Instagram, we're looking at exciting and innovative new ways of creating short form content that can basically take a product or a service to market. So we always get those sponsored ads. Somebody behind there has created that infographic or that content, has thought about who you are and why they want you to see their thing. So it isn't just this faceless thing. There are people behind it. Yeah, there might be 10, 15, 25 people who make up a creative agency. There might be like every building that you go and sit in or visit has hundreds of people who have been part of that process. It might come from one or two architects or architectural designers. And then you've got interior designers, you've got civil engineers, all of those people fit within that field, but they are still creative because they are bringing something from nothing. So that is what we mean by creatives. The createch world, which is that IT, computing, video games, anything that uses kind of digital technology, cloud computing, those kind of areas are really booming. And actually you're the type of people, as young people who have grown up using digital technology, who are going to succeed better than someone like me who has learned just about how to, well, clearly not just about how to use a PowerPoint slide because I've used the wrong emoji, you can see there. So like your brains are more wired for where the creative industries are going than mine, because I'm old. The creative industries make no money. You won't have any money if you're a creative or working in the creative industries. In 2019, they haven't get the CIC, which is the kind of the big board for the creative industries, haven't released numbers of 2020 and 2021 because, as you can tell, it's been quite a dodgy year for us. But in 2019, the creative industries contributed £115.9 billion to the UK economy. And that's just in the UK. If you are a creative, that might be that you create something for Netflix UK that is then streamed to Australia, America, the rest of Europe, parts of Asia, South America, and then you're contributing to their economy. So you're not just contributing to your own, you're contributing across the world, and that's really exciting. As you can see here from this breakdown, 47% of that is in IT, software and games. If you are a gamer or someone who is really interested in kind of IT, software, creating creative solutions to everyday IT problems, then doing a degree in computer science doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't seem that creative, but actually it really is. And you are going to be contributing to the biggest part of the creative industries. And then we have film and TV. The UK is booming for TV and film at the moment with the rise of the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime and kind of small scale writers being able to bring their work to the masses. We have some of the biggest film and TV studios that happen to be kind of on the outskirts of London and Manchester, and now Newcastle as well. So you've got the BBC, which is one of kind of the biggest heritage names in the TV world, ITV, Channel 4, the likes of those big channels, but also how film and TV has changed significantly, with a lot more people doing live streaming through YouTube, through Twitch. So all of that is counted as kind of TV as well. So as you can see, there is a lot of work to be made. What we have a significant skills shortage in is broadcast engineering. So if you are someone who's a problem solver, you're technically minded, maybe have a look at broadcast engineering as a possible career. Our current students are like first, second years being taken out to go and work on industry projects, because a lot of the broadcast engineers out there working in industry at the moment are coming to retirement age, let's say, and they tend to be kind of middle-aged white men, and we want to see a significant shift in that industry. And actually our younger students are being asked to go and do the Tokyo Olympics, or to go and do the Euros last year, to go and help broadcast those across the world, because there aren't enough people in that particular industry, and we're going to really struggle with a massive skills gap. So if you are kind of technically minded, interested in a career in kind of media with lots of possibility of travel, have a look at broadcast engineering. Again, one of my emojis has gone wrong. What an absolute nightmare I've had. So what do we do as people in the creative industries? So our role is to entertain, it's to tell stories, it's to tell our stories individually, but also the stories of our communities, or more importantly, the stories of those who the rest of society doesn't always tell. Our job is to dress people. It's against the law to be naked in this country. So as fashion designers, we need people who can design clothing to cover our bodies. And that is not just one particular type of body, that is multiple types of body. We're talking about modest clothing, a lot more plus size and sustainable fashion within that too. Our job is to innovate, to come up with exciting solutions to problems, to age-old problems. We house people, we build spaces that hold families, business, work, creative opportunities. We educate people, we don't just say like, here it is, there you go. It's actually how can we tell a story that's going to have a teaching underneath it. We communicate. We tell people things in a really creative and fun way. We inspire the next generation, and we construct and we build from things that weren't there before. So if you feel like you've got this kind of, I'm not very good at maths, I'm not very good at science, I'm not very good at history, but I like to build and I like to make. As a creative, you might use elements of maths, English, history, science within your practice, but you're not a mathematician, you're not a scientist, you're not a doctor, but you might have elements of those that contribute to those other like sectors and societies too. So do have a think about it. I really don't want you to be put off by the fact that studying something creative is really scary, because there aren't any jobs. I was always told, oh, Hattie, so my background is in theatre and I went to drama school, can you tell? And it was one of those things where I was told, oh, don't, babe, you won't get a job, you won't get any work, it will be really difficult. And actually, it was a lie, because I was self-employed for a bit, then I got a job, and now I work full-time in the creative field. And I also work self-employed doing the stuff I love on the side as well. So there is work, absolutely. 2.1 million jobs in total across the UK. And like we talked about, this thing about being employed and self-employed, 67% of the creative workforce is fully employed. So that is with a 9-to-5 job with a full-time fixed salary. So that might be, it's not always the highest of salaries, but it's a decent salary, maybe around 30 grand a year, £30,000 a year or whatever. And then 33% of the workforce is self-employed, which means they can work from project to project from different organisations. So you could go from if you were a freelance social media executive, you could do a social media campaign for one brand over here. So kind of understanding their product, creating their content, and then that's the deliverable. And then you go, okay, never see that company again, or you might go and work with them again, or you say, all right, that project's finished, I'll go and work on this project. And that's kind of what I mean by self-employed. You are your own boss. You get to choose full creativity of what you want to do. You get to choose which projects you like to work on, which is my favorite thing. But you also, your own administrator, your own marketing team, your own finance team. So if you need someone else to help you with that, trying to get a full-time job is probably the best thing. As we can probably tell, majority of the jobs tend to be in London, because that's where kind of the creative hub of the UK. And then second up is kind of that northwest, so that's Manchester, Liverpool kind of area. Where you guys are based, so kind of Western England, you can see is 5.6% of creative jobs. So kind of Bristol is a massive creative hub, and actually kind of renting around there is a bit cheaper for kind of studio spaces or gallery spaces too, but there is still a kind of thriving environment. So there is jobs out there, there is work out there for the people who want to try and find it, I suppose. Are there any questions before I continue? Has anyone got anything they'd like to share? Is everyone still there? If you're still there, can you put something in the chat just to say hello, so I know I haven't bored you all to sleep? What are sort of the salaries of the 33% of self-employed people? Brilliant question. So it completely depends. As a self-employed person, hello, as a self-employed person, you can set yourself a day rate, or that organization might give you a day rate. So for example, last week I did some training as a self-employed person, and they asked me, what is your fee? And I said, okay, so I'm taking in terms of the fact of my hourly fee, how long I've been working, and I'm not going to be, that's my only job that week. So I'm going to probably pitch it a bit more than if I was hourly paid to work at Ravensbourne. So I pitched it for a half a day training for £175, and that was 4 hours of work with 2 hours of prep. So my hourly rate was much higher than it would have been if I worked for an organisation. But bear in mind, I might do 2 or 3 days like that a week rather than 5 full days, and I have to pay all my tax, all my national insurance. I have to make sure that I pay for my office space, my computer, if anything breaks, and all of those things. There isn't a company kind of extra pot of cash. Some people might do 1 or 2 projects a month. That's what I do as a self-employed person. I do 1 or 2 projects a month. But some people, like I said, if you're a broadcast engineer and you're self-employed and you're working for the BBC one week, ITV the next week, here, there and everywhere, those people could probably earn £60,000 to £70,000 a year. So it is entirely dependent on what line of work you go into, and what your fee and your rate is. If you are really, really good, people will pay you. And lots of these big organisations have got loads of cash. So there is money to be made. Sometimes as a self-employed person, it can take you maybe a couple of years to build up your network. But don't worry, like it does get there. If you're good at what you do and you're a nice person and you turn up on time, and you're nice to have a cup of tea with, then there's definitely work for you. What I'd really like you guys to do is to pop in the chat as many creative roles as you can think of. So that could be, I've put some on the screen, but if you could think about some. So what kind of jobs can you think of from that would exist in the creative industries? So we've talked about some. Let's pop some in and I will read them out and see how many we can think of. So we've got designer, illustrator, photographer. Yeah, brilliant. You might work as an artistic street photographer and take your own kind of work, or you might work as a photographer doing kind of editorial or advertorial work. Writer, yeah, Lucy, nice. So that could be a screenwriter, that might be a copywriter for kind of billboards or brand type stuff. Nice, Emma, yeah, video game developer, brilliant, lovely stuff. So there is kind of 2 areas areas of the video game world. That could be development and design, and then that could be programming. So the programming is much more of the technical kind of building, whereas the designer is that kind of brainstorming creative side. Brilliant. Producer, director, runner, screenwriter, camera operator, editor, marshal, providing food. Someone's interested in a career in the film world. Nice. Yeah, brilliant. Actually, those people providing food to a hungry like cast and crew on a long shoot day are equally as important, if not more so, than the producer, the director, and the runners and stuff. So absolutely. Fashion publication. Yeah, nice, Lauren. So the world of fashion promotion is kind of taken a real change over the last couple of years. So that could be a fashion journalist writing for the likes of Vogue or Harper's or Elle, or you might be an Instagram influencer who works with big fashion brands. Interior designer, yeah, nice, Isabella. So what do spaces feel like to the person using them? That's such an exciting job. If anyone's interested in the interior design world, I highly recommend watching the Interior Design Masters, which is on BBC at the moment, which is an interior design competition. Costume design, yeah, lovely, Jessica. So costume design, similar to fashion design, people have got to be clothed on stage. The characters use the costumes as their armor, but they also have to be able to be washed 7 times a week, taken off really easily for quick changes, and breathable and movable if you're dancing or prancing around a stage or a screen on. App developer, yeah, brilliant. So a UX UI designer, has anyone heard of that? So UX stands for user experience and UI is user interface, and that is creating apps or websites that really work for the user, i.e. the customer, the person using them. We've all used a website or an app where you're like, that, it's really hard to use. I need to be able to click, pay, or find the information I need to be able to find in under 5 clicks, or like with one quick, easy search. As a UX, UI designer or an app developer, that is your job, is to think about the person using it. Organizing casting, yeah, casting director. So who is going to be the best actor for that particular job, for stage or for screen? Brilliant, thank you guys, that was really nice. You definitely had some brilliant ideas, and there are some more on here so that I can see. Visual effects, so a VFX designer, illustrator, broadcaster, architect, journalist, cinematographer. So there's hundreds of thousands of different roles, and actually every time technology develops, more and more roles are being built up. So I want you to remember that. Here are some of the myths. There aren't enough jobs. You need specific skills. You can't earn any money, and there is zero job security. Hopefully, over the last couple of minutes, I've hopefully tried to change your mind a little bit on some of those, if you came into it thinking those. And if you're parents, carers, supporters, whoever is at home, your teachers, careers advisors, say to you, there is no enough jobs, you can say, this woman Hattie from South London told me that there is. The reality is that there is such a wide variety of jobs, and they're always building. We need digital skills for the future. The creative industries is going really digital because of the way that technology is evolving and the world that we now live in. People want to be able to use digital software. Jobs require a range of skills. So if you are someone who's a natural illustrator, but you can also write copy too, like, and you're a decent writer and you understand grammar, then you've got extra skills. If you are a director of photography or a cinematographer, but you can also understand, like, you've also got a bit of an understanding of electronics, then you could be a double whammy there, because you're a DOP and a gaffer. Your salaries differ depending on each job, and the industry has changed massively. I want you to all remember that actually there are some incredible talent coming out of the UK, and they aren't just old white men anymore. The industry is changing, and the industry is being penalised, so like charged for not being diverse. So there has to be people of more than multiple genders. There has to be people of multiple ethnicities or races. There has to be people from a variety of different backgrounds working on jobs. If not, then pots of money are being taken away from projects. So remember that, and be the change that you want to see. The future of the creative industries is going to require a bit of flexibility, innovation, and collaboration. So if you are ready to try new things, come up with new solutions to old school problems, and collaborate with amazing other people, then have a think about it, right? Like, you don't have to go straight away, but you can have a think about it and always come back to something in this world. Creativity comes from people. There's a lot of stuff that has been automated and robotized, but actually robots and machines haven't quite mastered the creativity aspect. If you are someone who can create and produce high quality content, so photography, illustration, animation, film content, it's always going to be sought after. We talked about Instagram, we talked about TikTok, we've talked about film and TV. If you can create brilliant content, then there's a job for you out there. You guys are young and you're seen as having the vision of what entertainment looks like. It's changed significantly. You all go to different places to find out your information, and news travels differently through you because of the software that you use, because of the apps that you engage with. So remember that. The UK as a whole has got really good strength in media, culture, and education, and we are paving ways, creating trends, and influencing the rest of the world to catch up and follow us. And the trends to kind of look out for in the developing areas, if you are interested in kind of computer science, is cloud computing. So being able to, we all use Microsoft Teams. That's one of the biggest cloud computing apps that we've all absolutely needed in the last 2 years. Data and data visualization. People always need to be able to bring up numbers. If you can create a system that can take data from one place and make it look really whizzy, then brilliant. A green economy and urbanization. So how are we making our work more sustainable? This is a really brilliant website to have a look at in terms of what the future skills are going to be. So this is by Pearson, who are a fantastic organization who do a lot of kind of research into education and kind of possible careers advice too. So this is the 2030 skills test. So you can enter this and basically fill out who you are, what you're interested in, and it shows you the kind of jobs that might be available in the year 2030. So Peter is going to be age 25 in 2030, and he wants to be a graphic designer. So the skills that would prepare you most for your job in 2030 would be some originality, some fluency of ideas, management of personnel resources. So having a bit of an idea of how to work with people, and actually this then it shows you the kind of the chance of growth between now and 2030 and how much more your job is going to be needed in the current UK climate. So I can really recommend having a look at this. It's brilliant. I'll see if I can share the link in the chat. Does anyone have any questions? And if so, then let's have a little bit of a chat. Let me have a little look.
Nothing new yet.
No worries. Is anyone applying to or thinking about a kind of possibility of a career in the creative industry? If so, what? If not, we can keep typing questions if you've got them. I'm going to just show you this. So my job here at Ravensbourne is to help young people and aspiring creatives to have a think about kind of what they want to do. So we have a whole huge raft of holiday schools, masterclasses, loads of online creative projects, application support, so I can look at your portfolio or show reel and give you feedback on it. So do feel free to tap into that. I'll send the link over to Jess and she can share it with you guys as well. You can follow us on Instagram at Rave Outreach, and you can see the kind of work that we get up to. You can see the stuff that we created over the Easter break, which was really nice. We did a whole week based on activism. So you can have a little look at that. That is where you can find out more about us. Right, so questions, there are a few. Great. What sort of mindset is required for these jobs? Because currently I struggle creating content. That's all right. So the best kind of mindset is one that's just going to go, all right, this isn't working right now. Let's go and think again. Okay, that's not working. How do we try develop? The way that we kind of work is to look at research. So what's the problem? What are you trying to solve? What is that kind of that crux? Yeah. And then doing your research. How have other people tried to tackle it? What have other people done? And then just getting your initial ideas out there, just going, bleh, and then prototyping that. So taking one tiny idea, developing it further and having a look at kind of, could this work? Could this work? Could this work? What I need you to know is that there is an audience for everything. Just because you don't think it's good doesn't mean it isn't good. And there is actually like what is good and what is bad art, or what is good or what is bad creativity is really political. And actually what you might think is not great, I might love, and vice versa. So if you are really struggling creating content, look at other people's content and say, what do I like about that? And then try and channel some of that into your own work. If not, we've got loads of creative briefs on our website that you can find, that you can kind of work from, that are really good portfolio or showreel based projects. So hopefully that answers your question, my love. If we don't choose to do art at college or sixth form, could you still do it after? Yeah, so if you are someone who makes work in your spare time, for us, that's kind of more exciting because we see a lot of the same work from A-level and BTEC art. You could do a foundation course. So if you are 18 when you leave school or college, you can go and do what is called a foundation year, which is completely free. Thank you to the UK government, they pay for free. And it is basically a diagnostic year. And what I mean is basically you have a go at every different discipline. So you might have a go at a bit of painting and printmaking. You might have a go at media, like photography stuff. You might have a go at a bit of fashion. And then you kind of build up a portfolio of work. And if you then decide, I want to go to university and study biomedicine or veterinary science or something completely different, then you've had a free year of making a bit of a mess and having a laugh. So I can really highly recommend doing a foundation program. And if you want to move away and do that, then you can. There's loads on offer in London, but I'm sure there's absolutely loads on offer near you as well. So have a look at art foundations near me. They usually happen at colleges or at universities. So do have a little look. What would be the best way to start a career in photography? If you don't have one already, Emma, I would absolutely suggest setting up yourself a practice-based social media account. So don't put your photography work on the same Instagram grid as pictures of what you had for breakfast or where you went with your mates on Saturday night or your dog. We all love a dog, but if your pictures of your dog are also, mixed in with your street photography or your editorial photography, it gets messy. So set one up that is Emma Photography Instagram, and you don't have to have anyone follow you if you don't want to, but you can hashtag everything. There are like hundreds of thousands of brilliant hashtags that you can use. So hashtag photography, street photography, Pentax, Olympic, like all of the camera brands, and you'll see what people kind of tag, and then you can build up your portfolio that way. The best thing I could say is to just go out and shoot. Go on a photo walk to try and think, right, today I'm going to go and do observational portraiture. So you're going to take pictures of people in their environments and see what they so that could be a bus driver, that could be someone kind of a street refuse worker, kind of like a binman kind of thing, like working and taking photos of them and putting them on your practice-based social media account, I would say is a really great way to start it. And then you also have an archive of all of your work, and if and when you go to apply to study a creative course, that is your portfolio. Yeah, you just say, here's my Instagram handle, have a look at my work. I'll see if I can stop sharing and share you a particular person on Instagram. who is a really good person. I can't seem to stop sharing for some reason. There we go. So Nico is one of our amazing tutors here at Ravensbourne, who is a Ravensbourne graduate from our digital photography program, and he now teaches on our foundation in media production, so it's really kind of photography and film based. Let me see if I can show you his lovely work. Can you see this Instagram? Brilliant. So Nico is Southeast London born and bred. He's got 27 and a bit thousand followers by just taking lovely, he's a street photographer, so he takes pictures of kind of, he's really interested in like grotty kind of working class London, so he takes a lot of pictures of where I live, in South London, and he takes these beautiful pictures with really bright pops of colour, and then he does a lot of portraiture of people in and around their areas. Now what Nico does really beautifully is, let me show you, is he'll post a picture, right, and this is how you get views on Instagram. This is how having the understanding of how social media works, which is what you all have, and understanding the algorithm that we always talk about, is going to be really helpful. So this is a lovely portrait that he took, right? So he puts his lovely caption, he tags the people in it. So if you've taken a picture outside a shop, you could tag that shop or whatever. And then he does this, and he does all of these hashtags in a separate comment. And what he does is anytime someone comments, he replies, and that builds him up his reach, because that is more people interacting with him, and then he responds to them, and it's brilliant. So this is Nico's work. 100% have a little follow of him because his work's lovely, and you can see some really like grotty bits of South London, which is actually really lovely. This is one of my absolute favorites of his. But he, as you can see, there's not pictures of his dog, there's not pictures of his cats or his nights out or whatever. This is his portfolio, and when he says to a client, they say, oh, can I have a look at some of your work, he'll be like, here's my Instagram at Nico Fro, and they can have a look at his work. They can see the type of engagement that he gets, they can see the type of connections that he's got, who else follows him. So that's absolutely how I would go about kind of building up the possibility of a career in photography. Sorry, that was a really long-winded question, but I hope that was helpful. Brilliant.
What did Nico study at Ravensbourne?
Nico studied BA in digital photography. So our course is digital photography. So it's working a lot more with DSLRs rather than film-based analog cameras. And they also do a lot of like editorial stuff. So he will have worked in our studio, taking stuff for fashion, high fashion, like editorial stuff, portraits, and yeah, kind of working in a full-scale photography studio. He doesn't like that. He likes street photography, but he can do both. So he works really closely with another one of our graduates, who's a guy called Dudley, who's a cinematographer, and they work really closely because basically cinematography is just moving photography and creating beautiful images. So they both studied together at Ravensbourne, met here, and now they both work quite a lot on projects together. So Nico will be hired to go and take behind the scenes photos of a big film shoot or something that Dudley's working on. So he can do that street photography and event photography, but he can also really like do studio stuff too, because he's done a lot of that for me in the past. Brilliant. I don't want to keep you guys so much longer than I need to, so I'll probably hand back over to you, Jess and Marissa, if that's okay.
That's great. Thank you so much, Hattie. Yeah, if any of you guys have got any last questions or comments, please do pop them in the chat. But thank you so much, Hattie. That was really, really great. And I think just really highlights the huge variety of things that are out there, and that just give it a go. You don't have to be perfect to be in the creative world, because that's the amazing thing about being in the creative world. So yeah, thank you so much, Hattie. Just a quick reminder about what else is coming up as part of Creative Futures. Next week we have got the University of South Wales joining us, delivering a session on creative design. So as normal, we'll send you the link to register, and we'll remind you about that on Monday. We've got 3 sessions left of our webinars, another one by the University of South Wales with fashion, and then we'll be ending the webinar series with the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School on theatre production. Keep in touch, and like I said, if you've got any final questions, do please pop them in the chat. We also would love your feedback, so before you go, if you wouldn't mind just answering our little evaluation poll, or popping any final questions you've got for Hattie in the chat, that'd be amazing. Thank you all.
One of the best things you can do as someone who has got an interest in creativity is go to things like that day at the University of South Wales, like go and engage in those things, yeah, because they're not given away for free as a grown-up. So while they're free as a young person, 100% please go and tap into them. They're made for you.
Thanks, Hattie. Yeah, that's it, just taking up those opportunities while you can, definitely. Awesome. Thank you all. I think everyone's nearly done. Lovely. Thank you everyone so much. A huge thank you again to Hattie. I think there might be, there's just a couple of thanks in the comments. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. I look forward to seeing some of you hopefully next week. And yeah, as always, if you've got any questions in the meantime, please just email our Creative Futures email address, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Hattie. Thanks, Marissa.
Thank you, Hattie. That was brilliant. It was really interesting.
Ah, good. I'm glad.
Amazing. Lots of thank yous coming in.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you all.